Now, I can give you the long, detailed version of this video, or I can give you the summed up version. The summed up version right now would be GameStop's ripping you off. Do not buy those copies of Xenoblade Chronicles, because they're not, in fact, used copies, as they're going and trying to tell you. The long and detailed version of it, if you would like the inside scoop and like to know exactly what kind of shady-ass business practices these fucking black market acting like motherfuckers are truly trying to go and throw out there and pull the fucking wool over people's eyes, here's what's happening. There is a company called GameQuest Direct. GameQuest Direct just so happens, and all the links are down in the description if anybody's just like, I'm kind of thinking that you might be full of shit. You see, I had a couple things spring to mind recently due to all these reprints magically just popping up. Now, any average person would just safely assume that they were somehow hoarding all of these, or they just got a whole bunch in because their trade policy and the amount that they were giving was just so gosh darn good, and people had to go and get rid of those copies that people were really going after big time, especially if you look on eBay where fucking bidding wars get so goddamn out of hand it just makes you fucking facepalm because somebody just wants to play the goddamn game, and then that happens 900 million fucking bids later. But anyhow, see, GameQuest Direct cuts a deal with publishers of rare games and has them reprinted at their own expense. So basically, GameQuest Direct is going to take 50% of that sale, and there you go. So the publisher doesn't really have to do diddly shit except for give them the A-OK. They make money by doing absolutely nothing, and everything is left up to GameQuest Direct. Now, the interesting thing about this isn't the first time that this has happened. See, what had sprung to mind, what had reminded me about all this was way back during PlayStation 2 era, there was Fatal Frame 2 and Fatal Frame 3, both of which were going for pretty decent amounts of money. They're going for roughly around $60 to $70, depending. Now, I thought that was absolutely outrageous, and it really sucked because there was a lot of times I told my friends or told anybody that I'd run into, oh, you gotta go pick those games up, they're so fucking awesome. But then, you know, you see a used price like that, and what the fuck is the chances of you running into a brand new one? Next to nil. But then all of a sudden they started cropping up everywhere. I kept on seeing tons of used ones show up. I'm like, where the fuck are these all coming from? Now, keep in mind, I had no knowledge of GameQuest Direct or anything that had gone on, but I had friends that worked at numerous different GameStops around the city. So I ended up getting to find out that way. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But then I noticed something. See, these reprints, they're brand new prints. But GameStop's getting them in and opening them up and then calling them used. The reason that they're doing this is because they can dictate the price of a used game, whereas they cannot dictate the suggested retail price. They can't just go and increase that so that they bring in more revenue for themselves. No, they can't do that. All they can do is decrease that. And if they ever decrease the suggested retail value of something, then suddenly, you know, they're going to be the ones taking a bigger hit, except for on something like this, which is a weird gray area because we're talking about reprints of rare games. But anyhow, stay with me here. So there's another chain of stores around my area called The Exchange, where I end up doing a decent amount of my shopping at, because they always have a fuck ton of stuff. But I noticed that they were getting in copies of Fatal Frame 2 and Fatal Frame 3, a lot of them. And keep in mind that they were brand new, they had the seal right on top, and they were going for $29.99. These were brand new copies, but wait a minute, I thought that they were coming in used. So GameStop really was just taking them in, opening them up, popping them on a shelf, and then saying, that's used. And there you go. That's what's happening with Xenoblade right now. And the easy answer for something like this, the suggested retail price of Xenoblade Chronicles right now is $50. They can't increase it, but they can increase and dictate the price of the used copy, which is $90. That's almost double the price of what it's normally supposed to go for. The reason that they didn't lower the price of the suggested retail price of it from $50 down to anything lower than that is because it was a limited production run, so they had little to no need to do that. But as they got to see that these rare copies were going online and going for buku bucks, well, hey, $90. And now, granted, that's actually a little bit cheaper than what the eBay auctions are normally going for, and people could go and argue, hey, that's kind of a good deal. But it's not really a good deal when you should actually be paying $50. Oh, and by the way, you're buying a brand new game. And if you don't believe me, you don't believe the links or anything below, then why is it that the games look new? in every single way. You're getting the brand new Nintendo code in it. Everything in it is fresh and brand new. It just doesn't have some fucking cellophane wrapped around it. If there's anybody out there that's just clinging for all dear life to mighty fucking GameStop saying they couldn't possibly do something that shitty whatsoever. I mean, it's not like they've ever fucked people over before or lied. They would never do it, right? You'd never do that. Look, it's just another random bullshit thing that they're doing. But like I said at the very beginning of the video, the short version of this entire thing is you really shouldn't buy it. As soon as the demand ceases and goes away, which it probably won't, it really won't. When people really want to get a hold of something, especially fucking collectors, okay, then the demand is always going to be there, and the demand will keep on skyrocketing until it just goes stagnant and then drops off. You know, and video gamers have seen this time and time and time again. But right now you have a big time corporation who's now getting in on the deal, and basically they're trying to go and profit off of your love, your desire, and your demand. So there you have it right there. Does it suck big time? Most fucking definitely. Should something be done about it? I would say so. I mean, the thing that started making me think about it, I'm like, okay, GameQuest Direct is going and reprinting these copies. Why can't these go up onto the Nintendo Store, which was the other place that you could find copies of Xenoblade Chronicles whenever it was first released? Why can't that happen? I'm wondering why Nintendo isn't actually stepping in on something like this and trying to make new copies available, considering that the demand, again, is obviously there. If all these people are running around trying to go and scoop them up, then do that. And if Nintendo was actually doing that, GameStop might have to go and change their fucking tune, considering that they're going for $50, and then all the eBay auctions would end up plummeting down quite a bit. It's just, this is a fucking nightmare. It really is. The worst thing about it is this is part of something that people were fighting to get over here in the United States. This was something that a lot of people had a lot of love, had a lot of fucking passion for, and now basically, you know, people are getting fucked over in the process, and that just blows in general. But yet again, it's GameStop being GameStop, so who's surprised? Power to the players, right? Yeah, power. Fuck you. That's all it really is. Middle finger to the players. And I feel bad for any of the fucking employees there, because they have to sit there and do this shit knowing full well that, yeah, this is all basically a big fucking ruse. So, gotta love the fucking faceless, nameless corporate figureheads that basically pass down the fucking marching orders to all their employees to go and do this kind of bullshit. But, hey, you know, there's always going to be one asshole at the top of the mountain that's going to profit the most and shit on everybody that's at the bottom. And, well, that's pretty much the totem pole of life, right? So, anyway, how do you feel about all that information? And again, it's in the description. If you want to go and click on everything, I got it there for you. You heard it straight from my fucking, the gaping hole in my face. And, you know, just absorb that information and just realize that you're being fucked over, and you've been fucked over in the past. And as so long as GameStop is around and there's going to be rare games out there that can be reprinted at any point in juncture in time whatsoever, then yeah, if they think that they can profit off of your fucking love of something, they'll most definitely do it. Anyway, this is AlphaOmegaSin, as always, nerds, nerdettes, and gamers. Game the fuck on.